Hey, I have noticed that when I'm grieving, and I think this is probably true for everyone, words from friends or loved ones can fall short, and sometimes they just aren't appropriate or helpful. But when we're actually searching for the right thing to say or hoping to find some useful information, either through literature or online or whatever, what actually seems to help more is finding a story that we relate to, that we have lived, or that reflects where I am right now, right? So that can help us see that others have been where we have and they've survived.
That's right. There is a continuity of many people who have experienced similar things to us, right?
Yeah.
So, in this episode, we sit down with Laura Kramer. She is a journalist and the founder of Waiting Room Publishing. And she's here to talk about why literature matters in grief and what she's doing to put it right, to put the right words in the right hands at exactly the right moment. She lost both her father and her brother to suicide. And it's wonderful that out of that loss, she created Candlelight, a print magazine designed for the waiting rooms of hospices, funeral homes, and senior living communities, spaces where people are sitting with some of the hardest moments of their lives. And
Mhm.
I have a copy of this magazine, and I am delighted by all that I get to look at in photos, poetry, the writing. So listen up.
Great.
She's amazing.
Yeah, what a wonderful way to turn that loss into something beautiful. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to the End of Life Conversations podcast. I am the Reverend Mother Ana Luisa Armendariz, and today our guest is Laura J. Kramer. Laura is the founder of Waiting Room Publishing, an independent media company putting human-centered print magazines into healthcare, senior living, and end-of-life waiting rooms across the United States.
How cool is that? That's
Ooh,
really
sounds
great.
pretty cool.
You guys are so nice. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm the Reverend Wakil David Matthews, and we're really glad to be able to talk to Laura today. Her Waiting Room Publishing does 4 titles. One's called The Grand Life, Vital Years, Gigi, and Candlelight Magazine, the latter of which touches on loss, grief, navigating life after a death. And before launching WRP, Laura spent over a decade in journalism and brand strategy, and she's really focused now on physical media, the way physical media creates connection and meaning in end-of-life settings. We love that. Lives very close to me here in Seattle, Washington,
Yeah.
with her Great Dane Cowboy. I can't wait
Cowboy.
have to meet Cowboy one of these days.
Oh, he's dying to break into this room, so you just might.
Well, maybe we'll get to see him after all.
Yeah.
So, Laura, will you tell us what in your life inspired you to begin this work?
Sure. Yeah. So as you mentioned in the very kind intro, I had worked in journalism and had been a writer for many years, working for newspapers and magazines, mostly in San Francisco, a little bit in Los Angeles, and loved that work. Had no interest in starting my own publication until I guess it was 2021. Both my dad and my brother died by suicide, and as
Mm,
you can imagine, that's um, very life altering is an
yeah.
understatement. But I started working on our first magazine, Candlelight, just as a personal art project because I was working through my own grief and um, my thoughts were so all over the place. I thought maybe just focusing on something that I knew how to do, which was put together a magazine, it would just, if nothing else, give me something to do.
Hmm.
And so I made a little zine for myself, and I ended up sharing it with a couple of people who I was in a grief group with. And I guess positive is a strange word to use, but the reaction was it was very positive
Yeah.
and honestly just so kind and encouraging. And people were saying that they had wished that they had had a resource like this when they
Yeah.
were in spaces like those funeral homes or hospice care or palliative care. Just wishing that they had something like this to kind of ground themselves. And I thought I felt like the right person to do it,
Uh-huh.
and that's how we started our first magazine.
Wow. I
Wow.
love that.
I really love that.
That's
Oh, wow.
inspiring. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very nice of you. Thank
We
you.
had one of our interviews was with a person who, when her son died, was really just feeling like I can't find what I want in writing and books, you know.
Mhm.
And so she created these little grief libraries that are now all over Seattle. You may have seen them in Seattle.
Maybe.
They're like a little library, but
Yeah.
there's like 7 or 8 of them in Seattle area. And the one in Edmonds where we live, we keep stocked. But that was her whole idea. You know, it's really hard sometimes to find what you want. So she does
Mhm.
not only does these libraries, but she gets the books and she labels them what kind of grief they're talking about and puts that all
Wow.
up there. It's pretty
Mhm.
amazing work. But so
That
it just reminded me of that when you're saying, you know, yeah, it's kind of astounding, really, that when we're having to go through this, we can't find that support. What a wonderful
Mhm.
service you've created, and what a
Mhm.
wonderful way to work through your own grief. Yeah, it's good.
well,
Mhm.
that's very nice of you to say. I'd be interested to see the project that you put together. I talk to so many people now who are so deep in grief and working through it, and I see this pattern, which I'm sure you also see, where once people
Hmm.
go through loss, grief, they have this new, I don't know what it is, this new layer or this new understanding,
Insight.
this
Hmm.
new insight that they want
Mhm.
to share with others. And
Mhm.
there's so many just absolutely terrible things about death, and that is not one of them. That's
Mhm.
something that is really encouraging every time I see it. And it is a pattern. I see it a lot where people want to take their hurt and help people with it, which is
Right. And it's funny how, you don't know until you know, right?
Hmm.
Like, I just interviewed a friend of mine, her father just passed away, and her father has been an elder with medical issues for the last 4 years, and I would say, "Hey, do you have this? Do you know this?" And she'd be like, "No, yeah, 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 what?" Like, kind of like, "I got this, I got this." And then he just passed away, and suddenly she's like, "I had no idea."
yeah.
And she said, "And now everybody I talk to, I'm like, 'Do you have an advanced care directive plan? Do you have insurance? Does anybody know where your
Yeah.
insurance papers are?'"
Oh,
Like
yes.
like, she is suddenly, like,
Yeah.
verbose. I'm like, "Uh-huh, I know, I told you." You
Well,
know?
it's funny because you do. I guess I should speak for myself. I thought I would understand. I'd had friends and other family members who had died before. My dad died first, and I'd had very close friends who had died, and even suicide is a very complicated type of grief. I'd had very close friends who had died by suicide, and it's still. I want to be careful how I say it. It's not. It's certainly not a competition, but they're. Uh, when it rocks you, man, does it rock you.
Yeah.
And you're totally right. You don't know until you know.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you want to foster a pipeline of support for folks who are just entering into that realm, right? Because it's a shock.
Yeah,
It is a
absolutely.
shock. And I always say, like, oh, this it this feels terrible. I don't want anyone to know how this
Mm.
feels. In
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
same breath, when I find someone, I just made a new friend, and her dad also died by suicide 30 years ago, but we had this connection, and
Mhm.
she's on the opposite side of the country. We're a couple generations apart, and the second we met, it was just um, I just immediately felt like I needed to talk to her, and she said
Mhm.
it out loud too, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that
Mhm.
um, because I feel the same way. I don't want anyone to feel this way,
Mhm.
but if you do, it's helpful to have stories or community
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
something to look
Mhm.
toward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we need to approach our support in a myriad of ways.
Mhm.
I think our podcast sometimes feels more like a PSA. It's a public service announcement for people, which if you've ever watched public television, it's like you kind of zone out when they're giving you the public service announcements until you need to actually listen. You're like, oh, wait, that's what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Sure.
But, through your literary magazines, through people writing their stories through books, through, all kinds of panels, I think this the more we generate pipelines of stories and support for people, the more people will actually be able to find us quicker,
Mhm.
and we can support them in their journey.
Mhm. Yeah.
I agree. And something that I find you two specifically do so well that to me doesn't come across PSA at all, for the record.
Oh, good. Yay!
Well, eh, I like the range of voices that you showcase on your podcast, and it's something that we try and do in the magazine as well. And
Mhm.
Mhm.
before we were recording, I was telling you that one of my favorite episodes of yours is with Sarah Baldwin. She was talking about the four grief
Mhm.
personas explained, and um, and I kept wanting to like take notes while I was listening to it because it's something that I say all the time at work is that no one's grief looks the same. And so when you have
That's right.
a range of voices, which you can do in a
Mhm.
catalog or
Mhm.
in a magazine with multiple writers,
Mhm.
find, um, I do find uh, there's more of an ability to connect with more people because it's just a very different experience than sitting down and reading a book from one
Right.
particular author.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And they're
exactly.
probably shorter writings so that people they might be just too it might be overwhelming to read a book,
Mhm.
right? It's like you just need a short story or something
Article, yeah.
article so that you can just munch on it quicker.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And and we you like hit the nail on the head. We focus on that. We
Mhm.
make sure that we do have those in-depth reported features where we're looking at new studies about grief and healing and
Mhm.
how trauma impacts your bodies. We have those in-depth.
Beautiful.
However, like you say, sometimes when you're deep in grief, you are not at a place where you can even begin to process that. So
Right.
the next page, you might see a collection of poetry, or
Mm.
sometimes that's too much reading too. There are
Mhm.
photo essays,
Mhm.
um, and it's it's very interesting to hear the feedback and hear what resonates with certain people. And I might have a favorite piece, but it's not everyone's favorite,
Right.
and very interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I love it.
Sounds amazing. I wanna get a magazine
Subscription,
subscription.
yeah.
Hey, I'll send them over, and also they're available to read for free online, the digital version at
Oh,
Oh,
least.
cool.
But
oh, sweet.
Alright.
I was gonna ask that. That's great.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, we'll post, links to the podcast with Sarah Baldwin that we are talking about, and also,
yeah,
the one with, Pamela Bellier, who's the one who did this, book library, so
That's right, the little
you can
libraries.
yeah, so you can get an idea,
Mhm.
and maybe, once after we're done, I can just send you information for her if you'd like that. She'd be a great interview for a magazine, I
Mhm.
think.
I would
Mhm.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would love that.
so very, very good.
You should
Yeah,
also listen to the one with Ray, I can't remember his last name.
Rachel?
Rachel, was it Rachel? Who did a zine around embalming,
Oh, yeah, that was
Oh,
great.
and that's who I met at a zine festival, and that's
uh-huh.
why we connected. But again, like, they were just, curious about this process and wanting to educate people because they're like, "Well, you get asked this question when somebody dies, and if you don't know what it is, then you just make the choice based on what they tell you is the right choice, but it's not always the right choice."
Mhm.
So, yeah, so
Oh,
they have a really cool little zine that they set out about embalming.
Yeah.
what's interesting. I love stuff like that where uh, I don't need to explain this to you. This is like the premise of your podcast, but making making conversations that are um, perhaps uncomfortable, or perhaps you want to put on
Mhm.
the back burner, making it um,
Normalized.
normalized.
Yeah.
Dare I say fun? I love a zine, so
Fun, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The folks we were just talking to in the interview before you were talking
Yes.
about how they do a festival,
Oh,
Yeah.
Before I Die festival, and actually, another one of our guests a while back started that process down
Gail
in
Rubin, yep.
New Mexico, I think, and
Mhm.
and so, but they said, and part of this is we want to have fun. We're gonna get 300 people
Mhm.
together to talk about death, and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
I mean,
love
this
that.
is why death cafes started out by serving cake.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
So, that was a piece that was really important to serve a little
Yeah.
sweet in this potentially difficult conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, oh,
Yeah. Very good. I'm glad you're doing this work.
I too. I'm so excited. As usual, I love all of our guests.
Yeah, right.
Woo!
Can you tell us a little more about the 2 different magazines that you spoke to, or any of them, but, like, what kind of things would people find in there? What kind of, like, do you also share resources in there, or is it just basically articles? Tell us more about what we'd find, what
yeah.
we can find.
Well, you can find a number of things. So under the umbrella, there are 4 separate magazines. 3 of them are geared towards seniors, and
Mhm,
those seniors that we're speaking to, they're very much alive. They are very much living the best lives, having a fantastic third act, and it's honestly a little nice for me to break up my workday working on those really fun articles, and then moving to back to Candlelight, which is our end of life publication that feels, I guess, a bit more serious, and you just want to be very particular with the way that you handle that messaging. So within Candlelight, that's the print magazine that you can find at well, you can find it online or you can find it at a funeral home or hospice care. And that's the magazine that has a whole range of types of pieces. So those reported features, poetry selections, we have personal essays. Um, One of my favorite items that we do in each issue, we have a Dear Candlelight section. It's an advice column,
mm,
and we work with a really wonderful grief and trauma therapist. Her name is Michelle
Mm,
Smith, and she's based
mm,
out of Oklahoma. I'm blanking on the city, but she's
mm.
based in Oklahoma. And readers are free to submit their questions, and we work with Michelle to get those answered. And
That's
I
cool.
I think it's cool. I tend
Mhm.
to I always went to the advice section of any magazine that I was reading,
Mhm.
yeah.
and this is what I like about this is that because they're reader submitted, they're very specific, they're very
Mhm.
full, um, but I think because they're so specific and they're so real, you don't. Whenever I read them, at least, I feel comforted. Like I don't feel weird for
Mm,
having complicated feelings around death. I don't
Mhm.
feel like I'm, you might laugh when I say this, grieving wrong, which is something that
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
are 1,000 times a day that people are concerned that they grieve
Yes.
wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you have someone asking a really specific question like, "Oh, my husband's dying and I'm having intimate dreams about another man," like that is not something maybe you're comfortable asking or talking about with a friend. But when you have a real therapist sort of walking you through it, it's easier to, if you're the person writing in, it's easier to be kind to yourself. And if you're someone who sort of feels similar or can take a little bit away from it,
Mhm.
then that's fantastic too.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's really
It
great.
it's really lovely too because it's probably not anonymous, right? You can ask the question anonymously,
It is anonymous.
right? And
Mm,
so, I find that people are really embarrassed about a lot of things. I mean, sex questions, money questions, death questions. Like, do I really poop my pants when I'm going to die? Right? And
Mhm.
nobody really wants to ask out loud. But if
Mhm.
there's a really great, safe place to ask those questions and be heard and, informed, I think it
mhm.
makes people feel so much better.
Yeah,
I
what a wonderful resource.
We just need more spaces like that so that questions can be asked.
Absolutely.
I agree, and I go back and forth because the internet is so many things, and there are things on the internet, and there are not so wonderful things on the internet, and when you're on, I don't know, like an Ask Reddit subthread, and you're asking these questions, you don't know the person who's responding to you.
Right.
Mhm.
They could be right, and they could be
Anything.
yeah, anything.
Might not even be a person.
Yeah,
Right.
yes,
And
yeah, yeah.
and also if you're in that moment of acute like awareness that something's happening and you're really desperate for that information, and you ask the something, you get the response, but then you don't actually recognize that there is a spectrum of what that response could be like, right? Like, what
Exactly.
does death look like? Well, it could look like all these things, but if you got that one, well, I didn't see the death rattle, or I didn't hear it, or when did that happen? So it's kind of also not as great to have people just find that one answer. We need somebody, a human, to be like, listen, there is a whole panoply of possibilities here that can
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I like so much about the specific therapist that we work with is that
Mhm.
she is not so prescriptive in her advice.
Great.
I
Great.
almost hesitate to call it advice because it's more just walking you through options. And I'll give an example of one of my favorite things that she ever said. Um, someone was, again, I believe the question was something around, I feel like I'm not grieving properly. And her response is something that I squirreled away and I think about all the time. It's don't try and adjust your just pretend that you're a detective and notice what's going on, note it, and come back. You don't need to do that today.
Mhm.
You need
Mhm.
to pay
Mhm.
attention, but you don't need to change anything today.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
I do
It's so
too.
important. One of our other interviews was with Mirabai Starr, who has a whole program online of 16 thresholds that
Yeah.
people can go through, and that's part of the way she handles it. She and uh, Willow together have this.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, dogs are good.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is real life.
Mhm.
um, so she and Willow have done this for now quite a long time, 3-4 years, and they go through these 16 thresholds, and they talk about these are not in order, right? And
Mhm.
these are not specifically one thing or another, but these are things you might experience while you're going through grief.
Wow.
And I love the way they put that together, and they do it with such compassion and love and spiritual connection and
Mhm.
poetry
Mhm.
and song and all that. So, but that again just sort of emphasizes that there's so much. It's such a spectrum, and we say
It
over and over
is.
again, everybody dies differently, everybody grieves
Right.
differently.
Mhm.
It's a very personal thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
It is. And I love hearing more often that we aren't so stuck to those parameters, the 7 stages.
Mhm.
I
Right. Right.
love that the messaging is changing. I think it's really important for the message to change, that we don't need to follow a path in grief, just like
A
you don't need to,
prescription.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
exactly, just the way that you don't need to follow a prescription in life. And
Mhm. I know, but I think the reason that people like to hold on to prescriptive ideas of how-tos is that we don't have a manual for living. We don't have great communities demonstrating what any of these thresholds are like, right?
Mhm.
And you know, it's a technology. It's a way to figure out how to get through something safely, how to
Mm.
navigate.
Yeah,
And I think that oftentimes we don't recognize that that's what people really need.
yeah.
And they might just need a prescription. Sleep, drinks lots of water, open the door when somebody knocks to come in and take care of you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For the record, I'm not anti any of those things. I think we should all drink like so much more water than we
I
do.
know. I know. I know.
Especially
That
when you're
reminds me, I'm
grieving.
getting a
Oh my
drink here.
gosh, you need to be drinking so much water. It's insane.
It is.
Um,
Well, and that's a really weird little thing, but I am a pro water drinker. Like, I'm always pushing water. Everybody, did you drink water today? If somebody's in pain, did you have enough water? And when you're grieving, literally, you forget to eat, right? You
Yeah.
probably aren't drinking much, and they're giving you coffee and sodas. You need water to like really replenish that vessel and just keep yourself moist because you're making tears. So
Yeah.
drink water.
that's true. I mean, maybe the next offering we can do magazines for waiting rooms, and then also like water, like cute branded water, so that you remember to drink your water.
Yeah.
Are you grieving?
Or
Take
or
a drink.
oh, yeah, or a grief app, because everybody wants a app, right? And nobody can
Yeah.
remember to do anything on their own, but it's like it'll ding you, be like, "Ta-da, it's time for your water." You
Yeah.
know, have you been crying? It's time to moisturize your lips. Have you been, sleeping? It's time to go for a walk and get some sunshine.
Yeah, I mean, that's so true. There are things that just carry, like, good advice is good advice.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a great
Anyhow,
thing,
okay.
doing
Yeah.
it.
So, what are the challenges that you find in your work? Which I'm like so delighted by this. I'm so excited. Yeah.
You're delighted by my challenges.
I'm delighted by the work. I'm going to listen to your challenges, but I want to say,
So if anyone runs a small business, they will probably understand exactly what I'm about to say, which is that there are a lot of moving parts, and we're brand new. Our team is super small, super scrappy.
mhm,
I end up wearing a lot of hats that I wish fit me better some days.
mhm.
And uh, there, I think anyone can take their work seriously, and I'm sure lots of people do. It feels especially important for me when I'm uh, publishing work about death for people who are grieving to be able to really focus on that and really take that seriously and produce something that is A, useful, B, compelling, um, and C, available on time. And so
Mm,
um, it can be tricky to balance the really boring day to day,
The grind.
the grind. I have to get certain documents to my
Mhm,
accountant, and that's not my strength in life. It's hard
mhm,
to balance those things.
mhm,
I will say I am happier to do those administrative tasks working on a project that I really love. I've worked in advertising for a while, and there'll be days where I wasn't literally selling cigarettes to kids, but there'll be days where you're working on something that doesn't feel as important.
aligned.
Yeah,
Mhm,
like, oh, so I do enjoy the creative side much more than I enjoy the administrative side. I have to do both because we're so small, we're so new. And I just keep telling myself that eventually the grind is going to pay off,
mhm,
and I can get more help.
mhm,
Not
mhm.
quite there yet, but that's definitely the
mhm.
goal.
Well, I hope we can give you a little boost because I
Yeah,
believe in your work.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
anybody hears this, like to do an internship maybe or, you
Oh,
know.
yeah. You know, I have had a couple interns. I have one now. When a good intern is a
Oh,
life
yeah,
saver.
yeah,
Gold.
yeah,
I
yeah.
need an intern.
I'll
Right.
send you some names. They're
Oh.
fantastic people. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Mhm,
really appreciate all of the help that I get from the interns. I work with a lot of freelancers. So
Mm,
all of the writers, particularly the writers that I have coming in time and time again, there's a reason.
mhm,
I appreciate them taking on something that is,
mhm,
again, like, a bit difficult to talk about, but doing so in a
mhm,
way where um, they're producing something so beautiful. That's You asked about the
mhm.
challenges, but now I'm just sort of going into what I like about it, and it's being
no,
able to work with so many people
yeah,
who
Yes.
can turn the worst thing into beautiful art.
mm,
Mhm.
oh, I love
It's
that.
like composting or upcycling.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
there you go. Very much, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
Uh,
one of the, tricks we found is finding young people who,
mhm.
are willing to work for less money. Although I
poor
keep forget
babies, though.
I keep giving our editor a raises because he works so hard and does such a good job, so,
Well, I
but
need the young people to explain social media to
there's
me,
that.
and I explain, like, how to use Microsoft Outlook, and it's perfect.
Wait,
Yeah.
you seem so young. Like, what?
Thank
I'm
you.
like, I have full transparency. I had a 30-year-old come over this weekend to help me with my computing stuff. And honestly, watching him work, I was like, because he also gets stuck. But he's like, he's brave and he just pushes buttons until
Yeah,
it works.
right.
I'm like, oh. And I was like, oh my God, I just got tutored. This is great. So yeah, we need them to like play alongside us.
That's
Yes,
right, that's exactly right.
I understand, and I'm older than 30, but I have had some 30-year-old interns who are great. I love them.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
young.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh, youth.
does anything frighten you about the end of life after having well, you've gone through some real hard times and some tough
Mhm.
stuff, so when you think about your own life, what comes up? Or what feelings? It doesn't necessarily need to be fear, but yeah,
Well, sometimes it is fear, so we
yeah,
can go with fear.
yeah.
I I I see some of myself in the two of you, and that the way that you're so eager to talk about death so openly. I feel that I'm the same way about mental health,
Mhm,
um, while you're alive, and obviously that's because of
Mhm.
both my dad and my brother dying by suicide, and also, just without getting into it, a lot of my extended family members. So it's
Mhm.
something that, um, that I take very seriously. I always wanna start this by saying, I'm I really don't think I'm gonna kill myself. It's something, though, that I know for me, I have to keep an eye on.
Mhm.
That's I don't I don't really find that embarrassing, and I actually like
Mhm.
talking about it,
mhm,
um,
Mhm.
just because, um, for example, both my dad and my brother, they were, uh, outstanding people. They had every resource in the world. They were talented, they were smart, they were funny, they were, um, beautiful, beautiful people, and when I think about how things turned out for them, I'm like, "Well, shit, if it can happen to them, it can
mhm.
Mhm.
really happen to
Mhm.
anyone." And that's I know it just sounds like I'm saying that because I'm related to them, but I mean it. They were really, really special
Oh,
people,
yeah.
and they didn't make it. So,
Yeah. I
Mhm,
think it's important, and I'm glad that you're saying that.
mhm,
I pride myself in having been this really open mom, so since my kids were little bitty, we talked a lot about sex and
mhm,
sexuality and how to keep safe. We talked about death and dying since they were babies. Everybody has been very comfortable with the language. We've talked about all the pieces that have hindered my personal family of origin and others around my community. And yet, I think a year ago, I realized that I had never really talked to my son about neither one of them about
mhm,
mental health. And I was like, wow, I really like missed the opportunity because as I'm watching, you know, my son and not sleeping and he's in that area, we've got his father has family members who had mental health issues. I'm like, what did I miss? Oh my gosh, I need to talk about it more. I need to learn this now, and
mhm,
really offer it up as just another facet of humanness that we do need to keep an eye on and we need to be comfortable talking about. Like, I'm kind of sad.
mhm.
I'm not,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Sure. I'm not trying to just make you feel better. I think what you're saying is actually pretty sweet that you miss this. To me, I'm reading that like you just see this really beautiful, vibrant side of your children, which how beautiful is that? I know that when suicide happens, there's a lot of grief that is attached, and so
Yeah.
often
Mhm.
people saying, "Well, I didn't maybe." Some people
Yes.
do see the signs, some people don't see the signs, and they're
Mhm.
really hard on themselves, and that sort of breaks my heart because
Mhm.
I don't I don't see that as a negative. That you just see how alive someone is. I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
that's nice. I'm not making excuses for you. I'm just saying
Oh,
I
yeah, no, I'm just saying that I appreciate that
yeah.
you're talking about it, and I think that I'd like to learn how to talk about it more too,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
Well,
I I have a learning curve right now around this arena.
Mhm.
I won't shut up about it, so next time I'm in Denver, I'll come chat with your
Brava.
kids. Yeah. But
That's great.
I'm gonna get off my soapbox. One last thing, I just think it's so important to figure out, what you need, and sometimes that's just making it stupidly small, figuring out the very first step, because if you're
Yes.
thinking, "Oh, I need to
Mhm.
be sane tomorrow." Well, don't we all? Maybe
Mhm.
that's not the first step. Maybe the first step is talking to a friend. Maybe
Mhm.
the first step is talking to your GP. It looks different for everyone. Um,
Yes.
and I'm not giving medical advice. I know what works for me. I had to find it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But,
Mm,
it's very true that you said earlier that really it's the same thing that we're doing is like the way we're gonna get through this together is we're gonna talk about it, and we're
Yeah.
gonna have these
Mhm.
conversations, and so having your conversations about what's going on in your mental health is equally
Mm.
important or, as
Mhm.
important as anything else we've talked about here. Another one of
Mhm.
our PSAs, right?
Yeah.
Talk
Mhm.
about your mental health, and
Talk about yeah.
find the people that you can talk to, and maybe a friend, or maybe your GP, or maybe a psychotherapist, whatever.
It might be a journal.
It
Might
might
just be
be,
a way
yeah,
to get
picking up
get
a
it out.
journal. Yeah,
A oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. Journal is a fantastic first step. And I will say, if you do feel like you're in crisis and you need to speak to someone immediately, there are many free resources that you can
yeah.
just
Mhm.
reach out and call. So we
Mhm.
do, I know you were asking about resources in the magazine earlier. Our whole back cover, we don't run ads on the back cover. We just have a list of crisis hotlines.
Mm,
Mm. We should post those.
yeah.
Yeah, let's
That's true.
let's do because I have a
Yeah.
great list that I can send you.
Good.
Good.
What's nice about this list is that it gets so specific.
Mm,
Mhm.
There are general crisis hotlines. There are hotlines for young gay men. There are
Beautiful.
hotlines for indigenous people or teens. There are so many very specific groups that
beautiful.
if you know where to find
Yes, it's important. Great.
it is
Yeah,
important, and they're
Mhm.
so
definitely
Mhm.
going on our resource list. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
perfect.
Great. Let's see. Where are we? We're having so much fun.
I really love talking to people on our podcast. Like, how do you keep how do you keep yourself resourced? What do you do when it gets really hard during the days of having to do those accounting and you're like,
Yeah.
I need a break. What do you do for your break?
Honestly, I take a break.
Good.
Mm.
Yeah, I never did that before in my life. I thought that I wasn't allowed to, or like taking a nap was failing, and
Verboten. Mhm.
Yeah.
so stupid. It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing. So I take a break. I walk my dogs. I plant something. I read. I have just like a stack of books on my desk that are work related. And over there, I have a different stack that has nothing to do with work. And
Wonderful.
Amen.
I have a couple going in each stack every time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so I can do that. And yeah, if I need a break, I take a break. And I
Good.
had to learn how to do that, but
Mhm.
life changing that and drinking water.
Mhm.
yeah.
Drinking water. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. That is the best medicine.
It
Mama made the
really
Absolutely.
best
is.
medicine for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, backaches, drink some water.
Yeah.
You're dried out, drink some water. You're sad,
Yeah, you're
start with
stressed, drink
drinking
some
water.
water. Yeah,
Have to do
right.
admin, drink some water.
Yeah, after
Right.
yes.
Perfect,
Uh,
perfect.
I'm gonna just throw this out there because a friend of mine broke his back in a skydiving accident, and
No.
he would go to the doctor and say, like, "My back is really messed up," and the doctor would always say, "Have you had enough water?"
Mm.
And he'd always be like, "No, I haven't had water." And so now he's also like, "Yeah, you need water. Your body literally needs water for cushioning and
Yeah.
support." So every aspect of our lives needs water.
I was such a knucklehead when I was a teenager, and when I'd have to go to the doctor, they would always say that you need to drink water, and I was like, "This is such a racket, like, what the heck? They don't do anything, they just tell me drink water," and, they're right.
Yeah.
They went to medical school and I didn't, so drink
Yeah.
water.
I can see we need a whole new podcast just called Drink
I
Water.
know.
Yeah.
When to drink water?
Yeah. Drinking water conversations.
That'd be so fun.
Well, okay, this has been great. Really appreciate you
Mhm.
so much. Is there
Mhm.
anything you wish we'd have asked that you'd like to share with us before we finish?
I don't think so. You guys do such a nice job, and, I just it's so fun for me to get to talk about this in a way that isn't tense. And it's I'm not, no names. Just, so often when you're talking about death and people know your background or not,
Mhm.
it's incredibly tense. And um, it's nice to just be able to talk about things that have happened and laugh
Right.
and make stupid water jokes and just have a
Yeah.
nice time. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, thank
Well,
you.
yeah, I don't know if you've heard some of the episodes where I tell people that I sometimes get invited to dinner parties, and I'll always talk about death and die. I mean, it just comes up naturally, like somebody's
Yeah,
pet died or,
yeah,
something,
yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, death, let's talk about it." And I never get asked out back.
Yeah.
I don't have a vibrant social community because I think they know, like, the death midwife is gonna
Yeah.
show up in her crazies. Yeah,
But
so
I was just at a party last night, and it happens like you said, it happens naturally, right?
naturally.
It's just our thing. But I actually have found more and more that people are willing to hear about this and talk about it. So I think it's part of our
It's
mission, right? As it
right.
is with Laura. It's part of the mission we've taken on is to open up these conversations and to make sure people are
Mhm.
thinking about them and working on them and taking care of themselves. So
Can I
Yeah.
appreciate it
ask
very
one
much.
follow-up question about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you find that it's people of all ages, backgrounds, etc., who are willing to talk about it, or do you find that it's certain groups, or what do you think? What do you think that switches?
Well, I'll just say of course, a lot of my community is elders, but, and they certainly are and I think that's kind of a natural thing for them because they're looking at it. It's in their face
Mhm.
more. But I also spend a lot of time with younger people and working with and I find that now even a lot of those folks are willing and open to it, and I think that's really
Right.
important. So we
Yes,
wanna
and
get this conversation started early.
yeah, and it seems like I have a 17 and a 20-year-old, so I spend a lot of time with teens.
Mhm.
Teenagers are interested and I think they're mostly interested because they have witnessed the hardship of around death and dying that their parents have to do.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
some kiddos were like, there was a fight when my uncle died, and we never understood what happened. And then another young lady was like, there's a bunch of urns in my mom's closet, and like, why we don't have
What
the
are
money
those?
to go and inter
Oh,
them, right? And
mhm.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of little conversations with young people because they're really and they know I'm safe.
yeah.
But I think it's it's all people, and who wants to talk about it the most is the people who have just recently experienced a death.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's the people who are still so, like, open or broken inside that they can't talk to just anybody because people are like, "Just get over it."
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Just,
Don't wanna talk about this, yeah.
get yourself together and get going, and I'm happy to sit and talk and listen. I will listen
Mhm,
ad nauseum
mhm.
to your stories. I do, and, I
Yeah.
I think I think you probably get to asked by strangers on planes that will just suddenly be like, "Oh, I can
Yeah.
talk to you."
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and I don't know, you sound like a great, dinner party guest. What a
Uh,
great hang, talking
yeah,
about death.
no, I know. Also, I think that this is a stereotype, but I think wealthy people don't like to talk about this, and when I used to go to a church where I
Mm,
got invited into these circles with, like, upper middle class people,
yeah.
it was a little stranger there. It was just like, "You
Hmm,
don't bring that kinda topic to our dinner table, right?" Or
hmm.
"We're not it's life's too short to be sitting around talking about this stuff," or I don't know, but I feel like the less economic stability you have, the more curious you might be about it, or the more you've experienced it firsthand.
Mhm.
Ah,
I think that's noth I don't have any kind of, you know, qualitative data
Sure.
on that, but yeah, I'm
I
still
do
fun.
I yeah,
I'm just goofy.
I do think that that's people telling on themselves when people are so anti, like, "Oh, I don't wanna touch." I'm like, "Oh, you're super interested.
Yeah.
You you really wanna know."
Or you're scared,
Or you're scared.
or you're
Yeah,
deeply afraid.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so fu the other group of people that I enjoy talking to are moms with kids who have, medical issues. I did this,
Mm,
like, I don't know, it's probably been, like, 8 years now, but I hosted an advanced care directive planning for mothers with kids who are about to set out to college
Mhm.
because statistically, the last year of high school is when most kids turn 18, and that's when they're partying and doing a bunch of crazy stuff and they get hurt, and now they're 18 and their parents aren't actually, the ones who are making medical decisions for them.
Mhm.
Or their kids are sickly and they're going to a faraway college and they need support. A paper that says, these are the things that I need if I show up at the hospital. So those moms were really interested in having me around and to asking. And like occasionally I get a question from some of those folks, but yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense. That's interesting.
Mhm.
I like to find patterns in who's interested, who I think is faking, not being
Mhm.
interested. It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
um,
fascinating.
yeah, I think because my job is to try and figure out how to communicate to people, I'm just always curious. So I
Yeah,
appreciate you
yeah.
answering. Um,
Well, and I think,
Yeah.
this is, just being open to this conversation is the first step, and that's where we're, and that's how we find out. That's how we find out who's willing to talk about it and who's not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
keeping that invitation, I think that's, like we have I just did a booth at a farmer's market, and we had the invitation there, "Come talk to us," and sometimes that's all it takes, is just to have that invitation. So,
Mhm.
and having your magazine, having this podcast, we that's our
Mhm.
whole mission in life is to
Mhm.
make this available to people. So grateful for you and for
Yes.
this chance to meet you,
uh,
and now that I
I'm
know you're in Seattle, maybe we can even see each other in three dimensions at some point.
I was gonna say, let me know the next time you're at the farmer's market. It would be great
Oh,
to
yeah.
hang out and ruin a dinner party, and thank you both. I really
That
appreciate your time. It was really fun talking to you.
Death and dying, grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to Charles Heston, the composer of the original music you are listening to now.
And of course, thanks to you, our audience, and all of our amazing guests. Please come back next week for another great episode. Share this with your friends, family, and community. We hope you will subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. Each guest's additional information will be found in the podcast notes. And of course, if you have a good end-of-life story to share, please reach out. We are always eager to hear from you.